What's good, y'all? Back again. Another day. It's your boy, the Curtis York. And I'm here with another video for you today. Before we get you started, man, let me just say, definitely keep us in your well wishes and everything. Just found out that I lost my grandmother today. A few minutes before maybe about an hour or so before I started recording this video. And as I was working on this video last night, gathering the topics of what I wanted to discuss and things of that nature, I had no idea that the topic would resonate so much more now than I did, a couple hours ago. So yeah, man, if I'm fumbling through, I'm gonna try to edit it as clean as possible, but just give your boy some grace, man. We going through it right now. But today, what I want to talk about is time. Time, y'all. I want to talk to y'all about time. And on the subject of time, there were 4 specific things that I wanted to talk about. Giving things time, using time wisely, valuing your time, and protecting your time. So, those are the 4 topics that I want to cover. Well, that's the one topic that I want to cover, and the 4 subsets of that topic that I would like to discuss with you all today. So, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I am once again the Curtis York. I make content like this. I like fashion stuff every now and then. Actually have a partnership that I need to start promoting. We'll get there. I like to do vlogs, spending time with my family. I have 2 under 2 and an 8-year-old and a beautiful, lovely wife who's very supportive. So that's what we got going on. I've been through a lot. I've done a lot. I have a lot of experiences, and on this particular types of videos, I try to share that with the people. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first part is giving things time. In today's society, we like to rush and we want things quickly. And I mean, honestly, if we're being 100, who can blame us? The world has conditioned us today to believe that speed is the best. We can get things instantly, food, money, vices, success, everything we want we can have in an instant if we let social media and the internet tell us. If you name it, there's a quick way to get it. But the issue is sometimes when you get things too easy or too quickly, you don't really appreciate it. We all have that one person that just had everything handed to them and they didn't work and they didn't value it, and whenever they got something, it was just like, oh, whatever. And I'm pretty sure we all have that one person that fell in love quicker than we did, and we didn't really value them or appreciate them the way that we could have, because it was too easy. We didn't have to work for it, we didn't have to fight for it, they didn't have to, and the value just slowly diminished, or instantly we just really didn't appreciate it. Fast food is super convenient. You don't have to wait for it. You just drive through the line. As a matter of fact, if you have to wait for fast food, you get upset because it's fast food. It should be in an instant. But, studies and research shows that fast food isn't the best for us health consciously. And, there's also studies that suggest that the companies that are making these food are cutting corners in order to get the product out. And also they're putting things in the food just to make sure it stretches longer and all kinds of things in order to make sure that you can eat fast in pursuit of the almighty dollar. One of my favorite authors, as some of you may know, is Robert Greene. And in his book, The 48 Laws of Power, he mentions a parable of a man who was in a hurry to get to the town before they locked the gate at night. And so he asked the man how far was it and if he'd be able to make it. And the old man told him, as long as you don't rush, you'll get there just in time. And so the guy was walking, and then it started getting dark, and he realized that he needed to pick up the pace. So he started running, and he was holding a bunch of papers, and the papers fell. And as he was trying to collect the papers, he looked up and the gate closed. So, that story kind of explains the importance of not rushing and slowing things down. you know, just taking your time and making sure that you're focused on everything that's in front of you. You know, sometimes you have to be the one that actually slows things down. And when you slow things down, it allows you to do your due diligence. It allows you to make sure that you're catching every detail. It allows you to make sure that you are checking in your T, you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's. You're doing everything that you need to do in your power to make sure that you're protecting your best interests. Because when we get things too fast or when we rush, sometimes we skip steps. And you know, that's always been a big fault of mine personally. You know, I would like to rush through things just to get done. And by doing that, I would miss things, or I forget tiny little details, and they will always come back to bite me in the butt. Or from sending emails, I'm typing fast just to hurry up and get the email out. And instead of taking a second to just stop and slow down and read the email just to make sure I send it off, just to be done quick. And like I said, a lot of times I had to work on that. That was a personal trait that I had to give time and attention to. And then also, you know, just on the journey of success, you know, sometimes we have to slow down and we have to make sure that we understand that it's a process and that it takes time. And during that time, we have to make sure that we aren't skipping steps and we're learning the entire process so that we can see the whole picture and not just bits and pieces because we're rushing through to get done. You know, if you think about a powerful person, that person makes you wait for them. You know, if you're going on a job interview and they call you right in, you're already like, am I the only person they interview? Like, do people not want this job? You know, what's the case? But, you know, sometimes when you have to wait, it shows that this person is important or this person is valuable. You know, I remember I was watching a Muhammad Ali interview a while ago, and he was talking about how when people knock on the door, he'll have them wait, and then the butler would get the door, and then the butler would say Mr. Ali will be down, and he'd just be finding stuff to do to kill time. So that way when people come down, when he does finally get down, people will appreciate him more because he stopped doing whatever he was doing, or, you know, he was already busy. He was a very affluent and productive person. I can't express to you enough how much knowing when to slow things down is a crucial element in the game of power. Sometimes waiting can simply tip the scales in your favor. You know, there's an old story, and I'll see if I can find it and share it here for you guys. Sometimes just waiting works out for you. You know, if there's a problem going on in your life or multiple problems going on with your life, here's a solution. Here's something that you could do immediately to, you know, use this strategy, because often people just say things and they give you advice and they don't give you anything tangible that you could use and do immediately. So this is something that I want to give to you. You know, if you feel like you're going through a lot right now, then what you need to do is you need to sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil. You need to write out all your problems and then do some research and figure out how you can solve these problems. You know, if you have bad credit, then you need to look and see what are strategies that you can do to fix your credit, or maybe look into hiring somebody to help you with that. You know, if you're having issues at work because you don't know certain concepts, and figure out how you can learn those concepts in order to be better. You know, you just got to sit down with a sheet of paper, and by doing that, it's causing you to think, it's causing you to slow down. The act of writing requires time. You have to sit there and write every letter. So by doing that, you know, it gives you the chance to slow down your mind and to think. A lot of times we don't put enough value on thinking. Thinking is a lost art. Actually thinking, you know, just taking a second to think something through and come up with a solution. And that's, you know, giving things time, because a lot of times we feel like we have to go. But when you stop and think, you're creating a solution. So think. The next one that we want to talk about is using your time wisely. In a recent video, I talked about productivity. The reality is we only have an extremely finite time here on earth. As I just told you, my grandmother just passed, you know. We don't know when we're gonna go. We don't know how we're gonna go. We love to tell ourselves we have time. You know, it's crazy. The last time I was in my hometown, I could have went to visit my grandmother, but I didn't, because I didn't want to see her in that way. You know, this was about 2 weeks ago. And, you know, I was like, I got more time. I'll always be able to see her, just not thinking, I'll be back before she's gone or anything. I can go see her. And, time had other plans. Now, do I feel bad about it? No, because I still did not like seeing her in that light. That's not how I remember my grandmother. But at the same time, the idea that I could just go see her later, is just comfort, because later came and she's not here and I can't go see her. So with that being said, we have to make sure that we are using our time wisely. We love to paint these pictures that we have all the time in the world, when the reality is we do not. And so what that means is that we have to make the most out of the time that we do have, because we don't know. Am I suggesting that you live an unhealthy lifestyle and you just do everything that I told you not to do in the other videos? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is you have to move with purpose and urgency. And a lot of people mistake urgency with rushing. Urgency and rushing are two totally different things. Urgency is moving with determination. It's bringing awareness and attention to something. Attention, focusing diligently. And I'll put the definition up. Rushing causes you to miss details. Rushing is just, I gotta get it done, I gotta go. But moving urgent is moving with purpose. It's moving with intention. An example of somebody who lived life urgent, I give you a couple. So the first person that comes to my mind is Kobe Bryant. Another person would be Nipsey Hussle. And then you look at people who lived short lives, but they accomplished so much. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is an example of someone who lived an urgent life. I met a guy the other day. He said he was a bioengineer. And we were just talking, and he said he felt like he had to get things done because he felt like time is getting away from him. He's a bioengineer. He's in grad school. He was my frat brother, by the way. Shout out to you, man. I hope you're doing well, bro. And then also another one of my frat brothers. I promise I'm not turning this into a Kappa talk. But Reginald Lewis, he died at 50. First black man in America with $1 billion business. Let's move with urgency. Look at what he accomplished in his life to only make it to 50 years old. But I want to reel it back and talk about Kobe for a second, because he's probably the most famous after Dr. Martin Luther King in that bunch. Although Kobe was tragically taken away from us early, as we would like to consider it, he accomplished so much in his life because he lived a very intentional and purposeful life. Kobe, man, he had so many accolades. He had so many accomplishments in what he did. He could have slowed down. He could have stopped after ring number 2 or 3, but he got 5, And he never took his foot off the gas. He was always working, always being productive. But he was also a family man. He spent time with his family and made sure that they had what they needed. So he was very intentional and very purposeful and very practical. He studied, he practiced, he paid attention to details, and it paid off in the end. Here's a tip, and some of you might not like it, and I'm not picking, I'm not teasing, I'm just giving some practicality. Sometimes instead of mindlessly scrolling or consuming content that doesn't feed you, or people that don't feed you and don't add value to your life, then cut it out and focus on consuming information that helps you grow, that teaches you a skill, or improves the value that you can provide to your ecosystem. And speaking of providing value, if you find this information useful, then use your time wisely and hit that like button. I would really appreciate that. And it shows YouTube that this information is valuable. And don't just stop there, give some of your time and hit that subscribe button. Not only do I make these videos, but I make the vlog, as I told you earlier. I do the fashion stuff since I have a partnership now. Hey, shout out to that. I love showing off my beautiful family with my 2 under 2 and my wife and my 8-year-old and the whole 9. So, but because I value your time, I'm going to move on to the next one, which is valuing your time. You know, money comes and goes, but time never comes back. Right now, I am unemployed. Right now, our bank account looks crazy, but you know, it'll come back. I did it before, I can do it again. I'm not worried about it. You know, we're good. But what I am worried about is the time that I can never get back with my grandmother. You know, I think about everything from the past, and you know, the thing about death is you wonder, what if I did this, or what if I went over, or what if I spent more time? And you know, there's just so many things that I'll never be able to get back from my grandmother. I have peace, you know, I definitely know that I was a great grandson. I know that she loved me, and I feel like I did a very good job as a grandson. But you know, the thing about death is you always wonder what if, or what could I have done? And I don't know, that's just a rabbit hole. But you know, you gotta understand that once your time is gone, it's gone. Time is extremely precious. It's extremely precious. You know, when you value your time, you understand the difference between being patient and procrastinating. You know, valuing your time means using your time wisely, but it also means not allowing others to mismanage your time. You know, most of us don't value our time because, like I told you earlier, we think that we have all the time in the world, so we can just give it away. We can just spend it with anybody and everybody. And a lot of us don't value our time because we work specific jobs, and those jobs put a value on our time, and we have to live our lives based off of the value that the monetary value that they put on our time, which causes us to not value it as much as we could. But, you know, men created clocks for a reason. Men created calendars for a reason. Think about this. Ancient civilizations had methods of telling time. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why. Because if you can control your time, then you gain just a little bit more control in this uncontrollable, chaotic world. They understood that by valuing their time, they would know when to plant food and it had the best chance of growing. They knew when the temperature would be changing, when the animals would be coming and going. Ugh, that was hard. When the animals are coming and going, you know, they will understand, they will be able to calculate when the tides are high and when the tides are low, so they could figure out the best time to leave on journeys, or whether they needed to hibernate and follow the food. You know, and these people, simply by learning how to manage their time with the most basic of tools, just simply by understanding how to tell time, they could create societies, and they could create cities and towns and civilizations that we still live in and use today. So if these ancient people, who we like to look at and laugh at and call stupid, or you know, not really understand, if they understood the value of time, don't you think you should too? And lastly, what I want to talk about is protecting your time. You know, there are so many forces that want to take your time from you. Some people like me want to take your time and give you some value, some healthy, wholesome content that you could use to make your life better. But then there's other people that just want to steal your time from you from nefarious methods and means. You know, in sales, it's commonly understood that if someone's listening to you, then eventually you could possibly sway their mind. You know, the longer I talk to you, and the longer you sit here, and the longer you watch this video, the longer I can convince you to be more responsible with your time. You know, and that's the goal. So if you're still here, good job. That means we're getting somewhere. That means you value your time, and you value your productivity, and you value the information that I'm giving you, which hopefully will make your life better. You know, you see what I did there? But anyways, you know, you have to learn how to say no. You have to learn how to put the phone down. You have to learn how to decline invites. You have to learn how to just not do things. And the reason I say that is because if you value your time, then you have to protect it. And you know, everybody wants their own piece of clay. I learned that from one of my old mentors, Mr. Bailey. You know, everybody wants their own piece of clay that they can take and mold and use and shape however they want to. But you know, you got to be your own clay. You got to mold yourself and shape yourself into what you want to be. You know, people that don't value their own time can never value your time. You know, they'll distract you from accomplishing what you need to do. It may seem mean, you know, you may miss out on some events, you may hurt feelings, and you might even lose some friends. But if people truly care about you and they want the best for you, they'll understand. As long as you're really working on what you say you're working on and you're doing what you say you're doing, people will see the results and they'll love you, value you, and respect you so much more. There's a book that I know a lot of people mention, and I like that book too. It's called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And in that book, the main character talks about how he had to leave his love, and you know, she was sad. I don't remember his name, but I remember her name was Fatima. You know, he had to leave Fatima to go pursue his journey and complete it and bring it to fruition. And Fatima loved him, and she said she'll wait, and she understood. You know, that's the mindset that you have to have. You know, that's the mentality that you have to have. You gotta complete your personal journey. Alright, y'all, I've been talking y'all head up for a while now, so we're gonna go ahead on and bring it to a close. And you know, I want to just make sure that you understand this. What you do today is determined by what you did yesterday, and what you do tomorrow is determined by what you do today. You know, a lot of things we want to try to change in the moment, but we can't change it because it's already been written, because it's something that we've done in the past. And you know, we can't go back in time. We can't change what we've done in the past, but what we can do is where we are now, we can put steps in place to make sure that tomorrow us appreciates today us, which would be yesterday us in that moment. So just always remember that. Keep that in mind. Where you are now is because of what you did yesterday, but where you are tomorrow will be because of what you did today. You know, time is something that we take for granted. We don't understand it, and we don't give it its proper respect. A lot of us, unfortunately, I hate to say it, will never be able to truly master anything because we aren't willing to invest and protect our time. You know, relationships, a lot of relationships will never grow and blossom into what they could be because they are so focused. They don't value time. They don't understand that sometimes everything can be right, it's just not the right time, and you have to give it time, and you have to understand that it's gonna take time. And in that moment, you have to be willing to invest and protect your time. And with that being said, hopefully I didn't waste your time with this video. Hopefully you found value in it. If you did, let me know in the comments, and I will holler at you soon.